I remember thinking to myself, I need to figure out what to do. No matter how hard I worked, I was always distracted. You got to make that choice in life. And I actually had tears in my eyes, realizing that I am a trader. Where I want to be is I want to reach these levels. Think outstanding, think greatness, think big. I wanted to take the risk. If I'm just stuck where I am in the right race, this will be my life until retirement. And that scared me. And I realized, right, there has to be something that I can dedicate myself to, take me away from being an employee to a position where not only can I achieve financial freedom, but I can also have freedom, like just to choose and control my own time. And so I've always had a problem with being stuck in a job, my time being controlled, having all these structures in place, all these rules. I mean, the lifestyle is very attractive, but the reality of it is tough, because it's always going to be a struggle. Because
hello and welcome to another episode of the Diaries of Success. Today we're going to be putting the light on one of the very important niche in the business industry. It's all about Forex trading. And I have with me one of the best performance coach in Forex trading for Forex traders. So he's going to talk to us about how he started, what are the failures he has gone through, what's the successes he has actually been able to accomplish, and how he is having his day-to-day lifestyle and how it's working. So I'm very, very honored and very humbled to be having with me and welcome Mr. Rodrigo Antonio.
hey, Haja, how you doing?
Hi, Rodrigo. Thank you very much for being here with me today.
Yes, an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Great. Well, so just to start, let's share with our audience, who is Rodrigo?
Wow, who am I? I would say that I'm a performance coach for Forex traders. I started in 2014.
Wow.
And it's been a passion of mine since then.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, like all sort of successful stories, I mean, there's been ups and downs, and you know, the road to anything, especially in trading, is really, really tough. There's a really high failure rate. But for me, I identify myself as a trader, and I use trading as a tool, as a self-improvement tool.
Right.
Really. There's so much to it that hopefully we can, you know, discuss what the realities is of a trader. What does it actually look like? What do the routines look like? And that's how I'm able to coach other traders, because I'm a trader myself. So for me, trading is, like I said, it's a tool for self-improvement. And there's different ways of making money with trading. Yeah. You can manage your own capital. Mm-hmm. You need access to quite a lot of it, or you can use other people's money.
Nice.
And there's this thing called funded trading. So there are prop firms out there that if you prove yourself as a trader, mm-hmm. you can actually get funded by these companies. Wow. And you have to go through an assessment and prove yourself first. So this has changed the industry considerably in the last 3 years. And this is what has provided so much freedom for a lot of traders, including myself, where you're able to work remotely from anywhere in the world, managing these funded accounts for these proprietary firms. So yeah, that's a little bit about me in a nutshell.
Well, I really loved what you said, because there was some nuggets there. Does that mean you don't need your own money in order to start trading? Exactly.
Or you would need a small amount.
Mm-hmm.
And that small amount will be invested in your own education. Okay. I mean, this is the key with anything. And it's the same thing with trading. And it's the mistake that I made in the beginning, was not invest in my education. In fact, I jumped straight in because all I saw was the pound signs.
Right.
I wanted to make loads of money, and I wanted to be able to do it from anywhere in the world with an internet connection. So I was sold the dream, and I had only myself to blame, because what I started doing was essentially gambling my money away.
Yeah.
And that's what most people do when they first start getting into trading.
Well, why trading? Because look, in this world, there's so many multiple streams of income, right?
Yeah.
And there's like property, which I know you're involved in as well. There is like Shopify or drop shipping or social media, or so many different strategies. Why Forex trading?
So for me, Forex trading is it's a tool to be able to live a life of your own freedom, whatever that personal freedom may be. But what matters is that you are able to trade in the foreign exchange market. Like for me, it's almost like being Robin Hood, because the foreign exchange market involves all the institutions, all the big banks. And for me, it's always been a way to extract money from the rich and give back to the poor.
That's a really good way of putting it up, you know. Yeah. It's very interesting. So how is that going to work?
So the foreign exchange market, you've got institutions, they exchange their currencies with each other. Uh-huh. And so these currency exchanges create these fluctuations in price. And so as a trader, what you want to do is you want to exploit these very small price movements, and you're essentially piggybacking of what they're doing. So as a retail trader, you don't really have enough capital. You don't really have any influence to manipulate or move price at all. So you kind of just have to piggyback off the big guys.
Nice.
So that's why for me, it almost feels like you're Robin Hood, because you're piggybacking off these big institutions that have billions, that are exchanging dollars for euros, right, euros for pounds. And so for me, it's understanding a particular pattern, understanding what time of the day, what day of the week, and how often that pattern occurs every single week, and being ready and present for when that pattern occurs. And so this is a pattern that you use technical analysis to identify the pattern, and you then place a specific amount of risk for the trade idea. So you have a hypothesis and you think, right, today I think the euro pound or the euro is going to move 20 pips. So that for me, I want to risk 5 pips to make those 20 pips.
Oh.
And so that's...
So what's a pip?
So
for people who don't know.
For people who don't know, right, so you have a price of one currency versus another currency. Uh-huh. And usually when you go to exchange your money, you usually see, like, let's say you were trying to exchange your pounds for dollars. So you might see 1.21. For every pound, you get $1.21. Yeah. Whereas in trading, you're including some additional decimal points. So for example, you look at 1.2153, right? And so those extra numbers at the end is where you're generating the pips from. So if it's 5.3 and you're looking for price movement to go into 7.3, so 1.2173, that's 20 pips.
Right.
So that's how I would describe it in a very simple manner.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Well, it looks like it's something that you are mastering at the moment. No doubt. You're doing great and amazing to see you achieve such success. What has been the trigger for you to say, oh, you know what, I actually want to jump into trading? What was the moment you said trading is what I want to do? And
I think it was just realizing that I was stuck in the rat race, that I had to do something with my life. And it was when I started my journey into self-development, sort of, back in, it was about 2013, 2014 when I first started trading. And then there was this book I read by Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I realized that if I'm just stuck where I am in the rat race, this will be my life until retirement. And that scared me. And I realized, right, there has to be something that I can dedicate myself to that's going to take me away from being an employee and into a position where not only can I achieve financial freedom, but I can also have freedom, like just to choose and control my own time. And so I've always had a problem with being stuck in a job, my time being controlled, having all these structures in place, all these rules. I've always had a problem with that. And so for me, trading was an avenue, a vehicle to put me in a situation where I perform the best. So with trading, you're always under pressure.
Right.
You always have to perform. You always have to be at your best physically and mentally. And so I knew I thrive under those environments when I'm under that type of pressure. Whereas when I'm in a job, I'm comfortable. I'm in this comfort zone. I'm surrounded by people that they're happy with that comfort zone. I'm surrounded by people that, again, they like telling others what to do, and they like to be listened to. And then for me, trading was more almost like being your own boss.
Freedom.
A lot more freedom. Nobody's telling you what to do, when to jump, when to move, when to do this, when to do that. There's no deadline for anything like that. It's you and the market. It's you and your strategy. And so for me, trading and the freedom that comes with it, and also the responsibility that comes with it, because if I'm just stuck in a 9 to 5, I'm only just going to be as good as whatever career that I've chosen or whatever job I've got. I mean, there's like different levels in every company.
Yeah.
And if I wanted more money, I'm going to have to gain certain skills to then achieve that promotion. But then that promotion means I have then less spare time. I have to then give up more of my time. I have to dedicate more hours, and I have more responsibility, even though maybe it's an extra 5 or 10 grand a year on top of your salary.
Right.
Whereas with trading, I realized that actually the more capital that you're managing, that doesn't necessarily reflect on you having to work harder. Like if you, for example, let's say I risk 1% per trade. Now, if I have a £10,000 account and I risk 1%, that's 1%. But I could be taking the same trade on a 100,000 account, and I'm still dedicating the same amount of hours to that trade.
Yeah.
That trade may take me 30 minutes, and I'm still just risking that 1%. Now, I could have a 10 million account in capital, and I'm still spending the same 30 minutes. I've just scaled it. And so when you're working in a corporate environment, you can't scale what you do. You just, if you want more money, you have to increase your hours. You have to increase your responsibility. Whereas with trading, you need to do is just increase the amount of capital that you have that is backing what you do. And so when I realized this, I thought, wow, trading is actually a vehicle towards being able to scale my lifestyle, achieve more freedom, be in control. Now, on the surface of it, it sounds amazing. It sounds sexy. This Lambo lifestyle, traveling, being on the beach, getting your laptop out, taking a few trades here and there. I have tried it, and I end up losing money every single time when I go on holiday and I try to trade. It's definitely not something that I advise. I mean, the lifestyle is very attractive, but the reality of it is tough. And you have to fall in love with the struggle, because it's always going to be a struggle, because you always have to be at your best every single day.
Yeah.
That's the reality of trading, is you have to dedicate a lot of time to your physical and mental performance. So what does that mean? That means that you got to make so many sacrifices. You have to be at the gym every day. Every day.
Why is that? Why is it important to be? Because you said it now a few times, right?
Yeah.
You said if you're in a 9 to 5 job, then first of all, you're trading your hours. But if you actually want to be successful in trading, you don't have to work the 9 to 5. You can just be concentrating on a small amount of time. That's one. So if you do that, why do you really have to be mentally, like physically fit? What's the correlation?
Because what I've found in my own trading and working with hundreds of traders is that as human beings, we get complacent. We are naturally lazy. We naturally just want to relax and chill. And so what happens is that a trader can, work really hard, do all the right things. And I've seen it happen so many times that they have this target in their mind, right? I want to manage 100K. And when they achieve that, then it's almost, they feel as if they've completed the mission, that the mission is done. But really, that's just one chapter. That's just one milestone. And so the trader then starts getting complacent when they stop doing everything that got them there in the first place. The daily workouts.
Right.
Analyzing their trades properly, which we call the ASR, Advanced Self-Review. So every single week you need to review the trades that you took, the things you did good, the things that you did bad,
Nice.
what lessons you learned from it. And you use that to become better, to come back the following week better, sharper, more focused. Now, if you stop doing the process, no matter what level you reach, you get complacent. Naturally, we get complacent. We want to relax. And this is the mistake many traders make once they've reached a high level. And I've made that mistake before. And I work with traders that reach that state and then they start giving back. They start going back a step. And the thing about trading is that you can very quickly go from hero to zero.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So what I've noticed is that discipline is very important to someone's success. There is a huge correlation between being disciplined and being successful. So what I've noticed that the more success you want to achieve, the more disciplined you have to be. And I've known you for some time now, and I've always seen you that disciplined person who actually does what needs to be done. How do you keep yourself disciplined? Are you just naturally disciplined all the time, or did you have to? Look, I'm everything except disciplined. I'm a very spontaneous person and I do things as they come. But I really want to become, I'm working on it. I really want to become as disciplined as some of us are. So how was it? How was your journey with being disciplined?
So I think discipline is something that's learned, something that's developed and involves a lot of mindset. So being a disciplined person, it requires you to condition your mind in order for you to just get things done at the time that they're meant to be done.
Right.
And this is really difficult, of course, to maintain this. There are days when you give yourself like a list of things to do and then you smash it out and you're like, wow. And you feel like I've had a disciplined day. If only I can do this every single day, I would be this great. I would have achieved these amount of things. But what I found in trading is that if you are not disciplined, you're just not going to succeed. In fact, you're going to lose money. And so for me, that's exactly what led me to being disciplined in what I do. So the way I see discipline is an accumulation of these small daily practices, these small daily habits. And if you can achieve these small practices and small daily habits, in particularly in the morning, that then helps you be disciplined for the rest of the day.
Right.
So, for example, I have my morning ritual. I have my morning process. So I'm up at 5 a.m., sometimes earlier.
5 a.m. club.
That's it. I do my prayers and I'm at the gym by 6 a.m.
Wow.
Once I'm at the gym, I do a 45 to 60-minute workout, and then I'm in the sauna. And in the sauna, I do this process with my mentor, Jay Munoz, and we meditate for 10 minutes in the sauna, and then we go through a gratitude circle. He's just mentioned a few things that we're grateful for, and then we visualize our day. And so this is what I do Monday to Friday, and on weekends I do on my own thing. But generally Monday to Friday, that's the routine in the morning. So I feel as if that if you have a routine like this, you are then conditioning your mind to be more disciplined in everything that you do.
Right.
Because if you can turn up on days where, the truth is, most days I don't want to be in the gym. Most days I just want to stay at home.
That was my next question actually going to be.
It's like being disciplined is doing the things that you need to do, whether you feel like it or not, whether you're feeling good or whether you're feeling bad. That's the difference, big difference to those who are disciplined and those who are not. Because like I said before, we are naturally very complacent, borderline lazy, right? And if we are not forcing ourselves to get the things done that we're meant to get done, regardless of how we feel, then, you know, that's going to hold us back. And I realized that with trading, if I am not disciplined, I'm going to lose money. It's as simple as that. I've looked at the data and I've seen, right, these are the days when I'm in the gym. And these are the days when I decide to be lazy and I stay at home. And I compare 20 trades when I went to the gym, 20 trades when I don't go to the gym. And what does it tell me? The data tells me that I lose money on the days I don't go to the gym. I lose money on the days when I don't have 2 minutes. I spend 2 minutes going through what I'm grateful for.
Right.
And, you know, it's when I noticed this, I realized that actually it's these small habits on a daily basis that contributes to the overall success.
That's making the difference.
That's making the difference.
Yes.
And one of my favorite books that talks about this in detail is Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Nice.
Where he basically, you know, look at any, you know, let's say the atom itself. Mm-hmm. Every habit is an atom of the bigger structure. And so what makes a structure is all of these atoms put together. And so really success is down to what daily practices you complete. And this is every single day, has to be every day. Mm-hmm. Even on weekends, it's, for me personally, I would, if I'm not going to the gym on a Sunday, I would put on a 15-minute yoga stretching practice where I do something at home, something physical, something that moves the body. Yeah. Because I know that if I'm moving the body, I'm continuing to condition the mind. Because that's what discipline really is for me, is you doing things physically to always condition your mind. Mm-hmm. So that you are controlling the mind as opposed to the mind controlling you. So the mind can be controlled to an extent, and to control your mind, you have to put your physical body through certain experiences. You gotta, you know, for example, intermittent fasting, going to the gym, cold showers, moving the body, stretching the body, restricting it from certain foods, certain drinks, because the mind is always gonna want the easy way out. Yeah.
So what I'm getting from that is a few points. So first thing is being disciplined. That means commanding your body to do what you want them to do, whether you like it or not, and actually doing it. Number two is doing those little things that is the difference that makes the difference. Mm-hmm. And number three is analyzing the performance on both whenever you are actually following what you want and what you need to do, and comparing it to when you haven't followed what you actually need to do. And therefore, it gives you some sort of a due diligence on the way you're performing. And I love that. Yeah. I love that. That's amazing. Now, have you ever, you're disciplined, you're achieving, you're following it as a ritual, you're having it as a routine. Has things gone wrong at all? Even with these, with this discipline and these routine?
Yeah, absolutely. Things do go wrong.
Yeah.
And you go through, in trading, is what we call losing streaks.
Okay.
So the losing streak, it could be several factors. And in most cases, a losing streak is related to self-sabotage. So it's a psychological factor behind you taking a series of losses. But what you have to understand in trading is that every strategy has a probability of success. Mm-hmm. And it's not always going to perform And so, with the law of averages,
Yep.
you are going to experience several losses in a row because that's just the way things are. Now, the problem is that our relationship to money,
Yep.
it causes this sort of negative spiral effect
Right.
in traders, which then leads to self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage, it's something that all of us go through. Has it affected you badly, and how did it affect you?
So with self-sabotage, it's quite an interesting concept because, like the name itself, you are self-sabotaging the process that you're meant to be following. And it sounds so counterproductive, but it's exactly what we do all the time, unfortunately. We end up getting in our own way. We end up feeling sorry for ourselves. We end up punishing ourselves more. It's almost like, I'm not going to the gym, and I know I need to, but I'm not. But let me just buy this box of cookies. I'm going to eat them all. I'm just going to buy this tub of ice cream. I know I'm not meant to, but I'm going to anyway. So then you end
cheat day.
This cheat day, exactly. So there's this sort of self-sabotage attitude that we all go through. And this happens a lot in trading, as well as in most people. I've noticed that actually, if it wasn't for your own complacency, your own laziness, if it wasn't for your own self-limiting beliefs, you would be, such an amazing, successful person.
Yeah.
And this is just a reality that in trading that I've also noticed in life.
Cool.
Now, the way to get out of self-sabotage is to first acknowledge it. To first acknowledge that I'm actually the one that's causing these failures in my life.
Right.
I'm responsible. Not my boss, not my parents, not society, me. I'm responsible. So what do I need to do in order to get me from where I am now to where I want to be? What do I need to do? And so then once you figure that out, it's so powerful, taking responsibility and ownership, owning where you are is so important in trading and in life, because no one else is going to do things for you. No one else is going to give you any handouts. Nobody. Yeah. And so you got to make the opportunities.
Yeah, that's a very important message you just shared with me, So I've seen so many people blaming others for their own failures. And, my boss doesn't like me. He's not giving me opportunities. Everyone else is just getting promoted. I am not. My family doesn't support me. They don't think I can achieve more. Or, my wife is actually very negative, or my husband is not that supportive. Has that been the case in your family? And you have a beautiful family. So has that ever affected the way you started? Because let's be honest, being in the industry you're in is very risky, maybe. So has it been all these talks, all those little voices that maybe made you doubt yourself? You were in a job, you were in a 9 to 5, and you said to yourself, okay, you know what? This is not what I actually want to do. I want to have the freedom and work for myself. So has those little voices and people who telling you cannot do affect you at all?
I think for me, I've always used it as fuel. So for me, one of my biggest fears is going back to living the average life.
Right.
Going back to getting a job, having a salary, and just being in that comfort zone, being told what to do. For me, that's one of my biggest fears. And so whenever I hear anybody, whether that's a friend or family, and I heard a lot of it, saying to me, why don't you just stick to that? Why don't you got your degree in psychology? Why don't you do that?
Yeah.
Or you were great at that job. Why don't you just get another job? You've got a really good CV. You got good experience. Why don't you just play it safe? And so for me, because I've done a lot of work in my self-development, I've read tons of books. I've followed different types of mentors, and I've realized that it's all these voices for me are they just have their own perspective in life.
Right.
Whereas where I want to be is I want to reach these levels. And for me to reach these levels, I need to step away from that average perspective of life and think outstanding, think greatness, think big. And so when you start thinking and surrounding yourself with people that have this type of mindset, it's almost like when you hear those voices, they're not as strong anymore. Especially when you start achieving results.
Yeah.
When you realize, oh my God, this is the first time I've withdrawn. Oh wow, this is like the first time I've made money in trading. This is fantastic. It actually works. And you start achieving these things because you followed your dream, you followed the process, and you realize that actually those voices are not going to impact me anymore. Because if I had listened to those voices, those people, then I would still be stuck in that situation where many of my friends are still. Many of my friends from school, they're still stuck in certain places, and they may be content, they may be happy, and I'm happy for them. But for me, that's not something that I wanted. I wanted to take the risk. I wanted to live an outstanding life. I wanted to achieve bigger things. And so you're always going to have the naysayers, but you just have to use that as fuel and just think about, right, where is that coming from? What perspective do they have? Have they educated themselves? And what aspirations do they have in life? Now, what do they want to achieve? What have they achieved? Do I want to listen to them and be where they are? Or do I want to achieve something greater? Now, if I want to achieve something greater and outstanding, then who do I need to listen to? Who's up there? Who's achieved what I've wanted to achieve? What books have they written? What podcasts have they done? What interviews, etc., etc.? What courses do they offer? What can I learn from those people?
Right.
That's who I need to listen to. And I'm still going to love my friends. I'm still going to love them. I'm still going to be there for them, turn up for the events.
Beautiful, yeah. Beautiful.
And there for them emotionally. They're good, they're bad.
Yeah.
But when it comes to business, when it comes to career, I'm going to listen to those people that are where I want to be.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That means I'm still going to keep my circle, but I'm not going to make them my influence. I'll love them. I'll support them. I'll hang around with them. And whoever is actually not bringing me any value, and I'm not also bringing any value in their life, because it's mutual, right? It works both ways. So I see a relationship is in a way that if I'm bringing value into your life, amazing. If you bring in value into my life, that's even better. So we're working on that. If there is nothing that is going on, I'll just call it an acquaintance rather than friendship, or so I wouldn't really spend more time. But that's really nice. I want to bring back to something you said earlier. It's when you were in a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
At what point you said, I'm ready to leave my job, or what happened, or how did it happen for you to be going or transition from being in a job all the way to becoming your own boss?
Right. So I think this was probably the last job that I ever had. And I was working as an administrator for the radiology department at Colchester Hospital.
Right. Okay.
And no matter how hard I worked, I was always distracted, because every single time, every single minute that I had an opportunity when no one was looking, I was on the charts. I was on my phone and I was looking at the Forex market. I was placing trades.
Right.
I was insanely obsessed with becoming a trader.
Wow.
So no matter how much I focused on the job itself, I wasn't really focused. I didn't really want to be there. And no matter how hard I tried, I kept making mistakes. And I remember that the day when I got fired, I remember thinking to myself, right, I need to figure out what to do. Because when I was sitting in that office and they told me, right, we've tried and you've made too many mistakes, we can't keep you on. And I remember this sense of excitement. And I actually had tears in my eyes that day, realizing that I am a trader. That no matter how hard I try, no matter how hard I try to fit in, all I want to do is be a trader. So I had two choices: either update my CV and go find another job just to, pay the bills, or go 100% into trading. And that's what I decided to do. So I had this holiday booked already. It was a friend's wedding in Cyprus. And this was like a week or two before. So I got fired a week or two before the holiday.
Oh,
yeah.
Snaps.
Yeah, so it was almost like, oh man, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, I'm still going to go. I've already paid for it.
Yeah.
I'm still going to go have a great time. I'm going to my friend's wedding. And I realized that no matter what happens, I need to find a way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to be the traditional route. So when I was out there, I noticed on Instagram that this really successful millionaire trader was also on the island.
No way.
But he was on the Turkish side.
Okay.
I was on the Cypriot side.
Cool.
And I said to my wife, I said, listen, I need to meet this guy. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I need to get to the other side of the island and meet him. So I reached out to him on Instagram and I said, hey, what's up? I'm actually on the island. Let's meet up. And he goes, yeah, sure. This is my hotel. Come tomorrow.
Wow.
And I was like, awesome. I thought, right.
That was very humble of him.
Yeah, it was really humble of him. And I thought to myself, I said to my wife, look, tomorrow I'm going to take our rental and I'm going to drive to the other side of the island. And she said, all right, that's cool. But don't forget your passport just in case. And I was like, all right.
Bless her.
And literally I was up at about 4 a.m. because I had no idea what that journey was going to be like. And I just set off. And it was one of those unbelievable experiences that you have on your own in solitude, and you realize that I'm actually now following my dream. I'm venturing out on land in a place where I have no idea what's coming. I have no idea where I am, but I'm going. I know where my destination is. And so it was very mountainous. It was quite dry. Wow. It was just myself, and I was thinking, right, what am I going to say to this guy? Am I going to, and I was just, it doesn't matter. I just kept on going. And I remember reaching the border of the Cypriot island, and I hadn't realized how militarized it was.
Wow.
Like there were soldiers, there was a tower with a soldier manning a machine gun. I was like, okay, this is a really serious border. I need to really smarten up here. What am I going to say? I'm just meeting this Instagram guy.
Yeah.
So when I got to the border, luckily I had my passport that my wife reminded me to get. I was really nervous because I get really nervous around guns. And I was in this car rental. I didn't know if I was going to make it or not. I managed to make it through, and I got to the other side, and it's just completely different world. And when I started pulling up to the hotel, I realized how amazing this hotel was. It's like a 7-star hotel. Wow. It was very, very luxurious. And I remember going up to the reception area, and I realized, wow, if I wasn't to take this decision to be here, I wouldn't be enjoying this experience. I wouldn't be in this amazing, luxurious location on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And, I met the guy, and it was a great conversation. And, he invited me to his office in London.
Wow. Said
that there was these opportunities to trade and et cetera, et cetera. So I left that meeting so pumped, so excited. And I realized that for me, no matter what happens next, I need to use this energy, this momentum to continue networking, because to succeed in anything, even though trading is something that you do on your own,
right?
And you're trading the market, etc., you still need to surround yourself by other people who have achieved what you want to achieve, because it's the energy, because it's that accountability. So I have my mentors that I talk to. I have my coaches that I've always gone back to.
Right.
And I realized that my road to success was because I took those decisions, that uncomfortable decision to go somewhere where you don't know where the unknown is, but it's something that you wanted to achieve. It's something that I really wanted.
Right.
And you got to make that choice in life. You know, whether it's, for me, it was update my CV, remain average, or go do some scary shit.
Yeah.
Travel lands that you know, meet people, network, develop the skills that you need in order to achieve what you want to achieve. And, you know, it was that momentum that then eventually led to more opportunities.
Yeah.
And I ended up having an opportunity for a hedge fund as a fundamental analyst.
Wow.
Because the energy that I put out when I was meeting people, when I was networking, people are influenced by the energy that you bring to the room.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I realized that I was so hungry, I was so determined to not go back and having to update my CV. I was so determined that everybody that I met, I was just so positive.
Right. Yes.
So excited, so passionate about trading that they're like, wow, you know, this guy's great. It would be perfect to be part of the team.
Yeah.
And then that's when things started changing. I entered into the professional world as a trader, and I didn't do, you know, usually to reach that, you need to have economics degree, you need to go to the best universities, you need to sort of know who's who in the world. But I did it just straight out of passion,
Right.
straight out of determination. So you don't actually need a degree. You don't need to go through the traditional route, as long as you got that passion and that energy, and that's really what I learned from that experience.
So that experience where you actually went and spoke to the guy, you literally out of nowhere, he probably had no idea who you were. It's what tells me if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
Right? And what was the worst that could have happened? Him not replying maybe, or him not saying, well, sorry, I'm very busy. But would that have affected? Probably not, right? So the fact that you actually asked and it went well and you went there, I'm not sure where the venture has gone right now, but that was something that says to me, and maybe to everyone listening right now, if you don't, just ask. Just go and ask for something that you want. Look at someone who's actually doing better than you, follow them, do what they're doing, and then as a matter of result, you will definitely get there. Just being surrounded in that energy, being surrounded by those type of mentalities, by those type of, you know what, this is what I'm doing. Disciplined people, motivated people, people who have an ambition, people who have a target, people who have, you know, a goal to achieve. You'll eventually become just like them. You will eventually do what they're doing, duplicate what they're doing, leverage their expertise and knowledge. And as a matter of result, or as a matter of fact, you'll definitely get somewhere.
100%.
So how was your journey to actually becoming that successful? From being on an island, really in between whether renewing or updating my CV, to then starting your own, knowing what you know now, probably didn't want to get educated, or maybe you didn't know, and then you jumped straight into it, to now becoming a successful trader. So what does success look like now?
So in the end, it's exactly what you just said. It's just who you surrounded yourself with. So even though, like, I would love to say that something huge, something amazing happened from that meeting, in fact, nothing came out from that particular conversation.
Right.
But it gave me the energy, it gave me the momentum to realize that if I can cross borders, if I can meet this guy who's somewhat of a celebrity in this world, if I can get myself around these people, then I can continue doing so. So that's exactly what I decided to do, is just surrounding myself with the right people.
Right.
So no matter what you do, you've got to surround yourself with the right team.
Yeah.
And so my team around me right now, I'm surrounded by traders,
right,
who run their own trading business, but together we help other traders with their business.
Yes.
Now I'm surrounded by this team in City Traders Imperium, where we fund traders who show somewhat of a talent towards their strategy, and we provide up to $4 million to each one of these traders.
Wow.
But they have to prove themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And for me to be part of this team, I have to be the best possible version of myself.
Right.
Because I need to demonstrate to these traders that I'm living and breathing what I'm helping them to achieve.
Right.
So if they're struggling with mindset, I need to demonstrate strong mindset.
Yeah.
If I'm experiencing a losing streak, like for example, I go on a live stream and I experience a few losses, and traders can see that I've lost money.
Yeah.
How do I behave? What behaviors am I trying to portray in myself that other people are watching? So for me, I put myself in situations where I am accountable. So as a trader, you can do it on your own. However, you can reach far better performance when you surround yourself with a team that are not on, some people are not, some traders are a higher level than you, but also traders that you're trying to help that are trying to get to where you are. And so for me, because I know these traders are watching, my students, I have to walk the walk. I have to talk the talk and walk the walk. I have to show them, right, this is how you should behave when you lose some money.
Right.
This is how you got to deal with it. And so with trading, I realized that accountability, in fact, forces you to be disciplined.
Right.
Because sometimes on the days where I want to chase the loss, you might get annoyed. You think, damn, why did I take those trades?
Yeah.
Why did I make those mistakes? There's a new opportunity here. I could go and chase that. I can go and take this trade, double the risk, and make back what I've just lost. The temptation is there. And if you're on your own, and I'm managing my own money, and no one's going to know about it, no one's watching, I'll be more susceptible to making that mistake.
Right.
But because I'm managing other people's capital, I'm a professional, and I've got traders who are watching me, I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to succumb to that temptation, make the same mistake that that 99% of traders are making, which is chasing their losses, focusing on the money.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do what a disciplined trader is meant to do.
Right.
And that's just cut your losses, come back, you reset, review what you've done, recalibrate, come back the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's beautiful. That's really, really beautiful. So thinking at all this and speaking about all this, I am sure most of our audience is thinking the same thing. Numbers, right? So can we talk a little bit numbers on what's possible with trading and what's the best day you've done, what's the worst day you've done, and probably just the possibilities.
So when I first started trading, it was really tough because really it came down to how much money that you were trading. And most traders, we don't have a lot of capital to trade. And one, it's extremely risky as well in the beginning, especially the first 2-3 years, to use your own money. So eventually, a few years later, these funded firms started popping out where if you prove yourself and you pass their assessment, they will back you with X amount of capital.
Right.
So you pay them a fee to enter into this assessment. And then should you be successful, then what they'll do is they'll allocate some capital to you, which you can then trade remotely from anywhere in the world.
Right.
Now, this is what you would refer to as funded trading. So this is very similar to professional proprietary trading, or you're working for a hedge fund. You have a specific amount of capital that you trade, but this is more of the corporate world.
Right.
Nowadays, you have the funded trader industry. And so this is a new industry. It's about 2 to 3 years old, and it's allowed traders like myself to be able to work remotely.
Right.
So instead of investing, let's say, £10,000 of your own money and trading that, you could effectively pay a £500 fee to get a $100,000 account. That capital then belongs to a priority firm. It belongs to a prop firm that provides funding for traders. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Why would you risk £10,000 of your own capital when you can risk £500 and then you're risking someone else's money?
Yeah.
But there's a caveat, of course.
Absolutely.
There's certain rules, certain risk parameters that you must follow in order for that fund to give you the capital. But from a risk perspective, for me personally, I'm a lot more disciplined when I'm managing capital for these firms. So whereas if I'm trading my own capital, I'm a lot less disciplined.
Right.
I tend to be a bit more complacent because whether I break a rule, whether I follow my rules or not, I'm still going to be able to trade tomorrow. Whereas with these firms, it's a lot more professional. If I break the rules today, they will pull out their capital and I won't have that capital available tomorrow. So you can now be managing 7 figures worth of capital from the comfort of your own home.
Wow.
And if you are, let's say, risking 1% per trade and you have a £1 million account, you're risking 1% to make 3%. So in one trade, let's say you take 3 trades a week, you could end up making around, let's say, 9%, 6 to 9%, a 60 to 90 grand.
Wow. In one day?
In that week.
In that week.
Yeah. And these firms will reward you around 60 to 80% of that profit share in favor of the trader.
Wow.
So to get to that 1 million, you either have to scale your account. So every time you hit a percentage, they give you more and more capital, or you can just go ahead and purchase several $100,000 accounts. Remember I said it was at £500 each. So then suddenly in one day, if you had enough investment, you can actually be managing $1 million worth of capital.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I'm thinking, I'm going to jump on this, guys. I'm going to jump on this. We need to talk.
It sounds attractive. It does sound attractive, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
It could be simple, but then it's not easy, isn't it? Like there is a strategy to follow.
Exactly. Once you know the strategy, once you've simplified a process around this strategy, then it can become simple. But to get to that simple, you need to work hard. Right.
Now, lastly, what's the best you've earned in one day?
So, best I've earned was £25,000 in a day. That was a top day for me.
Right. And how much was it the loss that you've lost the most in one day?
Biggest loss was about £86,000.
£86,000.
And that was, we were making a few mistakes trading Brexit a few years ago when I was part of this hedge fund. And so although it wasn't a lot of money for the fund, for me it was.
Right.
So for me, when I saw that, I was like, wow, that was a massive loss. Fortunately, it wasn't my money and we managed to make it back up.
Right.
But it was one of those situations where I realized, okay.
So you had to manage your state as well alongside with the loss.
Yeah, as a trader, you have to detach yourself massively from the money because it can easily get so attached to these monetary figures.
Right.
And so if you let the winds get to you, you experience this euphoria naturally. And euphoria, what it does to your brain, basically decreases your memory. It's just like stress. Like with euphoria, all discipline goes out the window. You get this overconfidence and you end up being complacent. You end up breaking your rules. You think you know it all and you end up wanting more. That's when greed really kicks in.
Right.
And so you have to be careful even when you have your good days. And when you lose money, again, you go into this fight or flight response, which is very dangerous as a trader.
Right.
That's where you have to detach yourself from the money and focus on the process.
Great.
This is the key. This is, once you detach yourself from the money, you live such a more relaxed, more fulfilled life as a trader.
Right.
Whereas if your emotions and your life, I guess, is determined by the amount of money that you have, you're never going to be happy.
Right. Well, that's a very interesting conversation I've been having. I'm enjoying every single minute of it, and I'm learning quite a lot, and I'm sure our audience is also getting a lot of golden nuggets from that. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up, but I would definitely want our audience to get to know you more. So how do they get in touch with you? On what platforms are you sharing your knowledge and expertise?
So you can find me, I put content out on Instagram,
right?
Rodrigo Antonio, but before the I and the O, there's a dot there.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the description box down below, so at least it's easier for them to contact you. And do you have a YouTube channel as well?
So I put content out on the City Traders Empire on YouTube.
Nice.
So there's a lot of content on there. So for traders who are interested in funded trading, there's tons of content on there of how to build a business in trading.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you very much for putting the light on this very controversial topic, because some people are very pro trading, others are not really so into trading. So thank you very much for being here with us. Any last tips you want to give to our audience before we wrap up?
I would say that whatever you decide that it is that you want, just burn your bridges and whatever it is that you want to leave, that you want to get out of. So whatever 9 to 5, whatever corporate job, whatever it is that you want to get out of, just find a way to follow your passion and go for it 1,000%. Make it happen. Travel borders, meet who you need to meet, learn the skills that you need to learn. Just don't get complacent. Don't get stuck in a job that is not giving you that fulfillment or freedom, and just go for that opportunity when it comes. And it's a numbers game, so you just got to keep trying. You got to keep going, and eventually an opportunity will come.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo, for being here with us today. I'm sure you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Make sure you check our channel. Make sure you follow Rodrigo on all social media platforms, and also give us a follow. Give us all your questions and just make some comments so that we answer them in the next episodes. And who do you want to see in this studio next? Let us know if there's any successful person you want us to have a nice conversation and a nice, comfortable interaction with. Let us know in the comment section down below, and give us a follow so you can be notified every single time we have an episode up. We share quite good content on our channel, and we'll be happy to see you in the next episode and the next video. Until then, see you later.